What these children did in Chicago to this mother and her children, the 33-year-old mother, was awful. It needs to be called out. They need to be held accountable through the legal system. I'm not saying that they should be locked up for years, but they need to come in contact with the legal system, in my opinion. It's on film, and it is what it is. These juveniles need to be addressed. I think that sometimes these type of children are the same exact children that you can predict are going to grow up and continue to terrorize the people that are in close proximity to them, the people in their neighborhood, their own communities, right? And I don't like talking about stuff like this where black children are acting in an animal-like, inhumane way, but this cannot be overlooked, right? It's an awful situation. This happened in Chicago down the street from a school named Orville T. Bright Elementary, and a preteen actually did an apology video. I'll talk about that a little later and give more of my opinion about that. She's a child. I don't want to go too hard on her, but to me, evidence in that video shows that she's not a follower as she claimed to be, possibly. Let's get into it. What's up, ladies and gents? Thank you for stopping by. Social Nurse here. I appreciate you. Many of you have seen the video, the viral video of a mother and her children being attacked by school children. This mother arrives to the school to pick her children up. The son had been bullied in the past, and the bullying doesn't stop. Her presence does not stop the bullying. These children attack this 33-year-old mother and her son. The son's head was banged against the pavement. He had to be hospitalized. The mother in that video, just looking at it, to me, the mother appeared frail. Her movement appeared to be weak. There was just something about her demeanor, right? She had a distended belly. And after watching that viral video, I go on to look at other videos, and I see the mother speaking in a hospital gown from her hospital bed. She shares that she has sickle cell anemia and has several bouts in the hospital. So she's battling a very painful disease that can often, for some people, I don't want to say often, but because there's been improved treatment, but it can lead to fatality. The distended belly, right? This kind of answers why her stomach may have looked the way that it looked, because we know that the spleen filters red blood cells. Those old blood cells have got to go. They're filtered by the spleen, but they get stuck. When you have sickle cell anemia, these blood cells, red blood cells, can get stuck and trapped in the spleen, which is a small organ, and it becomes inflamed, swells up, and to a much larger size, and presents as a distended or a swollen belly, abdominal area, if you will. With that said, we've got to do better. Our community, our Black community, I'm ethnic Black Americans, I call on all of us to do better. The culture must change. What these children, school-age children, did to this mother and their fellow classmate was horrible. There's no excuse for it. Poverty is not an excuse for it. Whatever the excuses that comes up, we can't excuse this. The culture must change. I don't have all the answers, but the parents of these children need to be talked to. There needs to be an investigation as to what is going on. I do realize that sometimes decent parenting is going on, but children go astray. But there were people that interviewed about this at the school. People showed up for this lady and her children. They're upset and outraged. And one of the people that were interviewed shared that these same children have been bullying and doing awful things in the past. So to me, they sound like a little gang, and gangs are a problem in Chicago, if I'm correct. This has to be addressed. The investigation that the police needs to do needs to be done. And I believe, those children seen on the video, they definitely need to be prosecuted. They should come in contact with the law. Doesn't mean they should be thrown away forever. Maybe some sort of counseling or social help can be initiated and mandated. This was antisocial, criminal, and menace to society type behavior. Now, I hope that this mother and children receive special assistance. I think that homeschooling with a professional tutor and a professional setup where they can interact with a professional teacher online, and at some point periodically, an in-home tutor should show up to just make sure things are going well. I do not think at this time they should be subject to going to that school right now. I hope that there's a social worker and counselors involved. Unfortunately, I have to say that Brandon Johnson should be directing, or should have directed, sanctuary city money and getting unlawful migrants out of Chicago earlier than later. I don't know what the solution is, but it's easy for me to say some of that money used for sanctuary city services can be directed, or should have been directed, towards citizen needs, public safety, social services needs, things that are needed to help kind of redirect some of these students and people that are doing awful things in their communities. And yes, I do think that school security police should be navigating around that school, monitoring it when it's opened and people are going in and out the school, going home, whatever the case may be. Because these children and bad people, they don't change overnight often. They don't change overnight. It just is what it is. Just because a place is being policed does not mean that other elements of the community can't be worked on as well by the citizens. The behavior has to change. Now I want to briefly talk about the young lady, the 8th grader. She's 13 to 14 years old. If you're an 8th grader, that means you're a teen. You're an early teen, but you're a teen on your way to high school. And that young lady was with her mother. The mother emphasized that she was a child, which she is, but she's older than a lot of the other children that were there being brutal in that attack. And I saw in the clip that that girl initiated physical, violent contact against that mother. That's what I saw. But in her apology video, this young lady, she was tearful. She struggled with the apology. I also heard that she's a cheerleader. She gets great grades like A's and B's. And there were some other positive things about her that the young lady noted about herself. I noticed how her affect and demeanor changed a little bit. She brightened slightly, a tad bit, if I can use that word, when talking about herself. I think that this young lady does not have bad self-esteem. I'm speculating. To me, with the things she noted, cheerleader and the other positive things that I can't quite recall right now, but I know at the time when I was watching her speak, I said to myself, you know, she's probably popular. Other students probably look up to her. She's probably influential and probably a leader. This may be unbeknownst to her. I'm not sure. But she claimed to be a follower in her apology video. I think that her family should reconsider if she's really a follower and maybe examine that she could be really influential, is influential, and that it's really possible that other children are also following her and what she is doing, even negative things. Just my thought. Well wishes to everyone involved in this mess, especially the mother and the children that were harmed. Social nurse.